We're live.
Hey, this is JM2 with the USA Crypto Group, and today we're going to be meeting with the project Air Central Station, which aims to be the safe crowdsourcing platform that allows users to vote for investment portfolios, enhance passive income, and increase community knowledge in the DeFi space. So who are we going to be talking with today, and how did you guys decide to, I guess, make this project? Was there an aha moment or a wow, we just got rugged? What made you guys decide to go this trajectory with your project?
Do you want to take over, Don?
Yeah. You can. I butt in.
Do you want me to roll with it?
So what happened? How we started ACS? It was crazy because we was in this crypto, some crypto project, something Tiger, and long story short, it rugged. It rugged, and we was like, man, I'm sick of this, and we just going crazy inside the chat. You know, everybody's cussing out everybody who was involved in the team on that project, and then me and Rich just started talking from there. And we was like, man, we need to make a change. We need to do something. What can we do? What can we offer? I mean, but it got to be legit. Like, we're not cutting no corners. It's going to be like, we're going to take it serious. We're going to put 100% in it. And, you know, before we even created ACS, we just been like, just looking for projects, legit projects, and everything from that scam to this rug to, you know, all types of craziness. And so we was like, you know, let's just come up with something. And then that's when we came up with ACS Air Central Station, the Amazon of crypto. And ever since then, we just been going straight forward. And we just try to be very open and very transparent as possible. We always communicate. We're always online. Either I'm online, Alan's online, Rich online, and the majority of moderators is always online. So it's always a flow of steady communication in the chat. There's always an update, whether it's big or small. We don't care. If they can say, "Hey, Rich tripped over a rock today," hey, that's gonna be the update. You know, you know, we don't care what kind of update it is. The update is the update, whether it's big or small, and that's how we like to be. But yeah, Rich, you can take over.
Yeah,
very cool.
So we had noticed now, you know, I knew contract creation and things like that. And you know, this whole, first of all, running a project, this is my first solo. And then, you know, we all have been in just horrible projects where either the communication's not there, you know, people are saying, you know, they're doing this, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, the TG's gone. So it was absolutely crazy. And then as we started going, we said, you know, we could definitely, we know enough people, we could definitely do this a lot better. And this was probably October, I would say, of last year when we all started this. And we said, you know, it's time to really dig deep and start learning as much as we can. And, you know, for the things that we don't know, we found either specialists or other devs in our network that have helped us reach these conclusions and get this more successful. Because obviously nobody knows everything, but, you know, we've strived through partnership, and the things, like I said, the things we don't know, we go find someone that's an expert in that field and that's willing to either, you know, join the team or willing to point us in the right direction. So that's really how all this started, was just wanting to provide something better for the crypto community, and you know, being respectful and you know, making sure that we're there to answer whatever questions that we can. So.
Yeah, so and then we met Alan, of course. We met Alan. We met a couple other guys as well. OG Prime, he's in the chat. I mean, he's in the AMA. Great brother. You know what I'm saying? He's a brother. You know what I'm saying? looked out. He supported us 100%. We support him too. So shout out to OG Prime. If you need an honest man, any off crypto and crypto, that's OG Prime. You can always contact him for anything. He'll make sure he do his best to help you out any way possible, any way, shape, or form.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all in all, yeah, it seems like maybe that was gone for a moment. All in all, we started out relatively small. Now everything that we've done up to this point has been pretty much funded by the interior team. We haven't used any of the project money yet, and that was more along the lines to making sure we could get where we needed. And we started at a relatively small. There was about 12 of us at the beginning, and then I started outsourcing for things that we didn't know about, because the last thing you want to do is produce something that either security wise or something that's not up to par or doesn't properly function the way it should. So we started months ago vetting not only people that do development work, we also started vetting graphics designers. And as we started going, it was mostly because of the fact that as the BSC took a turn in the last few months, and where it seemed like everywhere you put your money, something was going wrong, or either the team was, saying, hey, this just isn't working, and throwing their hands up and saying, well, my time could be better spent pushing out the next project. We weren't very pleased with that, because some of that was our money, that these guys are saying, hey, it's not taking off. It didn't 20x overnight, and that's the end of it. It's, we'll put out something else in a week and see how that does. And, so we started vetting all these people and getting them into the workers network. And actually one of our partnerships is going to step in and pretty much take all our vetted workers. So the few months that we vetted has really turned into an expansion of employees and people that are now working in different terminals to get development done. And, and they're great people, and they are experts in the field that they're in. So it's been really nice to go ahead and take something from nothing and it be able to expand over an X amount of time to produce good products and, really do what we're trying to do here. And it's a very time-consuming thing. We've had some issues along the way. We've had to call in actual specialists, like, to help on the back end of things, far past my knowledge, and really just make things operate and work as they should. So for the most part, that's kind of what we're doing right now. And as far as becoming the Amazon of crypto, and this, some of you guys will know a little bit better than the others. I love different utilities. The only problem is that, the people that have Androids and things like that, you only have so many bookmarks. My bookmarks are insane on my D app, and I have to go different places to find different things. And, at some point, someone had to do what we're doing and say, we're going to pull this stuff into one place, which will be the website. As you can see, it's a rough edit how it will work. The terminals will be dropped. I'm working on going ahead and getting the buy buttons directly installed with the PooCoin charts on the website. So we'll be adding that soon too, where you guys can literally just go onto the website and function everything from the website that we'll have to offer here shortly. And as we keep dropping terminals, that's where they'll be available, and that'll be the hub. So instead of going to 7 or 8 different places, in my case, probably 150 different places to be able to find all my accounts and all my staking here and there, and it's absolutely insane. It'll all be done in one place.
Definitely, I do agree that it's very.
I think we lost you there, bud.
Yeah, sorry, I can't hear you, mate.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I do believe it's critical for crypto projects to make those relationships, because if you don't have them in the DeFi space, that's kind of where everything starts falling apart. So it's good to see that you're branching out, reaching out, and kind of making, I guess, a black book of trusted developers and projects and people that you've worked with along the way. So With that, I'd like to kind of start going into your terminals. So we're going to have AK Homestead here ask some questions, and then we're going to break those down, make sure everybody understands what you're doing, and then what your projected goals are for each terminal, and then your overall project goal.
Okay. So for Terminal A, I did see that you were you're putting 7% of the taxes from Terminal A buys and sells into other projects. Can you explain where the idea for that came from and how it's being executed?
Yeah, so the idea of that project came from the fact that everybody's always looking for a good investment. A lot of people don't really have time to go ahead and dig into a bunch of things, and but people are smart enough when presented with a good project to make that decision. So what we decided was that several mines were a lot better than just you trying to do some research on your computer. So what we managed to do was we formed a group of people that have done very well in the space, that actually know how to handle the in-depth research, and we've started digging into projects. And as we find these good projects, we go ahead and we actually step in, me, Don, or Alan, J1, he's another one, or even OG Prime. We actually either know the developers that are doing it, or we go in and we have some conversations. Some of the best partnerships that we've had have come from internal people, either knowing something or finding it for us. So, and the great thing about that 7% is that normally when we go ahead and do it, we're getting these projects for our holders tax-free and at the lowest price possible. We've been very hesitant here recently about diving in and finding a whole bunch of projects right now, just because of the way the condition the market is. And unless we 100% know what's happening inside that project, which you never fully know what exactly is happening behind closed doors, and that's the scary part. So we're very careful about who we bring in, about the projects we promote, the partnerships that we make. So that at that right there, we're just pretty much bringing a whole bunch of people together to make these informed decisions. And it helps a lot, because then people have different point of views. People have seen things that other people haven't seen, and it's pretty much a discussion group. And then the project decides what they feel comfortable getting into as a whole. So that explains Terminal A.
I gotta say, we have something similar going on with our community investment pool that we do. So when I started reading into your project to do some research for this AMA, I was like, oh, look, people taking kind of the same idea that we have and turning it into a token. So I think that's really cool. How do you guys make decisions on what projects to buy into and when to make the sell? Do you have any prior commitments to the partnerships that you're working with to not do one massive buy order and tank their charts? Well, that's kind of the thing. When we make these contracts with the other tokens, we allow them a 30-day floor, which really is the best for anybody. And being new and starting small, we understand that it's going to be a fight for us right now as far as finding great partners and things like that. But eventually, we'll be buying a larger sum of money and pretty much setting the floor. That way, so they can start these projects. There's going to be no pump and dump on our side. They get 30 days, 30 calendar days from the time we buy to make something happen for themselves. And not only during that time do we go ahead and we hold those tokens, we offer any of the workers that we have any knowledge that they need or anything that they're having issues with. We go in there and we try to help with that too. Numerous of our partners have gone ahead and we've helped them solve issues that they were having. And it's really just about helping everybody while making sure that we're not going to tank their chart. That's really cool. Do you guys have an option to be able to pass on the tokens in the form of reflections back to your owners, or is it just where you guys are going to or sell the stock at the end of it and distribute the income from it? Well, here's the real good thing. So this was one of the cooler things that we've managed to do. You haven't heard of too many tier-based tokens.
of course, you've seen where they allow certain things based on tiers, but we're tier distributed, which means there's different levels that you buy into. Now, when you buy into these levels, we're actually airdropping these tokens because we're doing that for two reasons. One is we're trying to solve the problem, and we eventually will solve the problem of the CG and CMC hike-ups, where these tokens, these guys that are coming in here and for 20 or 30 minutes to submit the application and know someone, they're charging thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, some of these guys are getting hit. Some of these projects are getting ran over. They're paying the thousands and thousands to fast track and whatever else that they're saying that they're doing, and it's never coming. So, we're trying to go ahead and on everything we do, we're trying to combat a certain scam that's in the market. And right now, there's a whole bunch of people hustling the CMC and CG. So we're cutting that out because as soon as we, get a little bit bigger, they'll produce the holder count. And hopefully the trade volume, whether it's either people buying or people selling, we'll be able to facilitate both of those needs for those two categories. So everything goes back to the holders. If there's a rewards or reflections, there's a vote on that, and the holders decide what they do. Either we can sell the rewards or the reflections from that account. Either we can sell them and put that into a new project. We're not too big on selling the reflections as that may hurt the token that we're representing. So more along the lines of the reward token, they pretty much decide what they want to do with it. Either they can airdrop them, which, obviously it would cost more money to do that. So, that's pretty much the skinny on that.
Definitely like the concept of holding the floor. I think that's important for people to realize that this is more of a long-term investment strategy. So like you said, kind of in your intro, you're not looking for beans, you're looking for the whole meal. So that's really important for people to know. With holding the floor, there are inherent risks. You have to really get a good grasp on the project. So it is a risky play, but at the same time, if you are legitimately getting with good projects, it could be very lucrative in the future. So with the reflection projects that you guys are in, are you mainly looking for ones that have a BNB or BUSD reflection? That way you guys don't have to have the high fees of trading the native tokens. What is your strategy for that to make sure that your members get the best benefit possible from investing in your project and other ones? Well,
as far as investing in us, there's a few perks that we have for coming on board. We have the Air Central token and the Black Hole token that's alive right now. The Black Hole token is just a regular buyback, but the people that held the ACS, they had first dibs, and not only did they have first dibs, they actually got it at a better rate because we did a few day sale and it was tiered along. Pretty much the time you contributed was based on how much more you got. Obviously, nothing outrageous or insane where it would hurt new holders. But in order to qualify for the Black Hole, you had to hold ACS. Just like in order to qualify for the next one, you'll have to either hold Black Hole or ACS to be whitelisted. And that's the perk of running with us. As far as looking for certain reflections, we're looking for quality projects, ones that will definitely stand out. And like I said, it's been slow. We were supposed to already have some AMA lined up. It's been very hard to find projects that are starting out, that are able to hear you out. A lot of people are a little skeptical about us right now as far as they're worried we may crash the charts or whatever the case may be. But I think me and Don, we actually went ahead and we've taken care of the last airdrop. The last airdrop came out of me and Don's pocket. That way so the holders could see, and it was really a test for us. This was the first time we had used our tool for tier distribution, which will play a big part later on down the road in our next utility that comes out, which is also Don's baby. So
I think that's really awesome. And things like this and AMAs like this that you are able to explain, what exactly your ideas are when they're so outside of the typical crypto box are really invaluable to new investors because it's a lot to explain and stuff like this helps. Yeah. If you could take the time to break down the taxes, I saw that you had 7% going into new projects, 3 marketing, 3 liquidity. But what is the 1.5% insurance tax for?
That was for exactly what we were just talking about, being a risky play. Obviously, the few things that we have done right now, we've been very, very careful about. We've really looked into the tokens that we're going to work with and things like that. The insurance will be in case we ever catch because nobody's going to be 100% right. I don't care who you are. You're never going to nail a good investment 100% of the time. There will be some that don't do well. This is for either rug, pause contract, or projects that really just kill the fund. And those were the 3 things that the insurance was going to be used for. Obviously, it would be voted on by the community. Everybody says they're a community token, but we're just the driver. You guys just tell us what direction to go. So obviously, before the insurance fund would ever be implemented, you guys would actually have that vote. So.
That's awesome. It makes total sense. What does it take in your community? Is there a certain amount of holdings for one of the terminals to be able to vote? And how do you guys go through that?
Right now, we are just doing some Telegram voting, which, we've heard everybody go ahead and say, hey, that's not quite fair, because what if they're not a holder and they're just throwing their 2 cents in?
Yeah.
Now, when we get to the point where we're voting for projects, for now it will be community vote, and we'll find a system to go ahead and match it until we actually get out and bring in our DAO. Now, our DAO will be another utility that's coming out where you'll actually have to own some of our tokens in order to perform the vote. It won't cost anything to perform the vote, but that will be how we go ahead and start hedging against other tokens coming in and voting for themselves and things like that.
Gotcha. Very cool. We're kind of experiencing similar growing pains. So we've had these conversations before internally, so we get it. Can you go ahead and move on to talking about Terminal B, the black hole? What's that all about?
Okay, so the black hole was something we were actually supposed to come out with our rewards token, and what happened with that is that like I said, with everything, we had a unique idea that was ready to pretty much set sail, and one of our partners that actually supplied the technology for that had some issues, and they're working through those right now. So the black hole was what we called our buyback utility, where the sales tax of 8% is bought, and we pretty much burn those tokens. Now, I know we burned what was left of the pre-sale. So far, I think we've burned 10% of the token. So that's just something fun that, hopefully we can build a lot of people around and just have some fun with it. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the black hole. We wanted it to be progressive for you guys and really reward the holders that are coming in through the door, and just, like I said, have fun with it.
And another thing, so our thing is like, everybody's not going to be into the same thing. Like, some people don't want a airdrop token. Some people don't want a rewards token. Some people just might want to buy back and burn token. So being what we call ourselves the Amazon of crypto, we got to be diversify the products we offer to please our investors, or whoever that want to come, and just whoever seeks us. So that's what we're doing. A lot before, I think it was like a week ago, people was like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" And we had to explain to them, because we want to be the one-stop shop. You want to be the place you can go to and get any type of token. There could possibly be compound interest, like I said, nodes, all that stuff. We're going to have it all. It's taking time, but that's what we want to offer. We want to offer everything you can possibly think of.
Exactly. Just as Don said, so every investor has like a different mindset, something which they're into, and that's why we're trying to bring all these different types of investors together in one place. It means that everyone benefits from it, really. And that's really our main goal, is to make sure that every person's happy. All the terminals includes every type of person, and essentially then we will become the Amazon of crypto.
Okay, so I just kind of want to rephrase the black hole. So essentially, that's kind of a massive token burn. So I guess you can say it's like a miniature PulseX where you kind of sacrifice. So by buying into it, you're building a liquidity pool for the rest of the project, essentially, correct?
Yeah. Well, there is one really one cool tax that is going back, and this is something that we all talked about, and we figured everything, since it'll be powered by ACS, it'll all be run under the same umbrella. There is a 2% tax that goes back to ACS. That'll be triggered once a month. And and that tax will actually buy back the floor and will begin to burn ACS too. As we continue to go ahead and run through these things, there'll be 13 utilities that will be all running back into ACS too. So we're really trying to make sure that the people that were here and started it and everything, that we're giving back to everything. So, the people that were here and started it, they're going to receive the most benefit, because by the end of this, we'll have 13 utilities that are running at 2% apiece. That'll be 26% running back into ACS. Give me a second.
Yeah, it'd be 26% running back to ACS. So that's how we powered it. Everything's powered by ACS. So there you go, Rich.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I have my child trying to run in the room. Yeah, so eventually we'll end up with the highest tax income token without actually hurting the holders, because we've all seen the high tax that come from other tokens, where you've got to burn a healthy portion of your bag in order either to get out or get in. And, it's all going to be run with the same people. We're always looking for, it's not just the ACS people. We treat, the people that hold the ACS token exactly the same as we do the black hole family. And that's essentially what we are. And, we'd like everyone to hold, a good portion of ACS that way, so they can be rewarded in the end when we actually do pull off this crypto Amazon store. And new things are obviously take a lot of challenges, and we've run into a few of them, but it hasn't been anything that's we haven't been able to solve. There's been no problems that have come up that we're like, oh, we're gonna have to stop doing this one now. We've done very well about outsourcing, and there's people that we go to. There's other developers that have been down the same road. And that's really the big difference. Had this been a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I'm sure everybody in the room can attest to this, there used to be no camaraderie between developers and things like that. And it was more along the lines of, yeah, best of luck to you while I try to beat you over here. The mood has really shifted, and people are open. They're helping other people, even though it's not their projects, even though it's not their problems. There's been a lot of cooperation this year, and it's outrageous, really, like the amount of support that people have given us, and the help that we've found in different places we never expected to find.
I also think that because of how transparent we are and really what we're trying to achieve in this space, we've been very lucky to find some of the partners we've been able to deal with. We found people more open to dealing with us. For example, like I've had a couple of projects approach me over the last couple of days who've heard about us, which is really nice, saying they want to get involved. They've heard about our 7% airdrop tax, and they know that obviously we help other projects, and they're kind of even trying to find out what expertise we can do and what we can help with them and how they can help us, and they're trying to build partnerships with us without us even having to approach some of these people. So I think the big thing is because of how we are, it's really starting to benefit us, especially short term and long term. It's nice to see, and it'll be quite interesting to see what happens over the next few months, and then the partnerships we're able to build with other projects.
I definitely like the community feel, the way you guys are talking about addressing the crypto environment. So I think it's very important. I guess to kind of come back to one thing you guys are talking about, the buy-in that you would like from your investors. So my suggestion for you guys, since you are still starting out, you started in March, maybe a better way to build the base would be to reduce the amount of holdings that your investors have. And for a person like me coming in and buying into a new project, 5 BNB, that's around $2,000. That's a lot of money. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but especially if you're just getting your names out there, being the first project, it might be easier to do 0.5 and then maybe 1.5 or 2 to start. And then as your community grows, then you can add extra access tiers and say, hey, if you get to this level now that we have created the ground floor, our names out there, it might be easier to get additional investors coming in. But starting off at 5, that's pretty steep level.
That's the actual tiering right now. In order to come in and reach tier 1, you actually only have to purchase 0.5 BNB. And it doesn't all have to be at one time. It could be done at any point in time, really. So you could buy 0.2 and then turn around and buy another 0.3 next month and qualify for the airdrop. So the highest that we have is actually 3 BNB, and we were on sale. We had a issue with our contract, our first contract we came out with, where it was producing double sales, and it took us. I tried to fix it for a while, and it turned out that there was an internal issue, an internal bug in V1. So we went ahead and moved to V2. Only problem is that we're trying to be very safe for even the new investors that come in, and our liquidity is burned. Our liquidity tokens on the backside are burned. And we continue, everything we put out will be done that way. We see no point in needing to recover any liquidity. So, obviously when we put out black hole liquidity is burned too. And, we did that way. So obviously we hurt ourselves a little with the first one moving to V2, because we actually had, as a team, to replace the liquidity, at least 15 beans of the liquidity, which, in the small scheme of things, isn't a lot of money. But we replaced it out of pocket, and that was the lesson learned, to be very confident about what we put out from here going forward. So, but back to the tiering. Let me get that here. I've got it here in my notes. Okay, so yeah, on 0.5, you go ahead and, sorry guys, give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, that was my bad. I misread that. It was 0.5 to 1.5. So that is a fair structuring for your tier system. I do agree with that.
And when we first came out with V1, we really wanted to give a bigger bang for your buck. And we had for 30 days while we were working on the airdrop tool and making sure everything worked right for the first airdrop, we actually did have a fire sale, we'll call it. And there's people that are grandfathered into that from the promotion that we did, where we actually had a relatively decent discount for people to go ahead and try us. So, and we may do that again at some point, but we have to find a way to make that fair for the people that came in and spent the money that they spent after the fact. Because there's been, since that promotion ended, maybe a half a dozen or a dozen people that have come in and reached tier 2 and paid that full price on tier 2. So, obviously there's a lot more going on behind the project. In case you guys didn't know, both ACS V2 and the Black Hole both have their staking that's open on Token Exchange, another partner of ours. And they're going to continue to be a partner. They've been great with us as far as making sure, even problem solving, things that haven't been their problem, coming over and saying, hey, this is what's going on here, or that's what's going on there. And, it's been great having them to handle the staking, because that was something that we're tackling on our own. We have the NFTs that are out and things like that, and we're going to continue doing the NFTs. Obviously not a main focal point right now, because we're also coming out with our own staking platform. The NFT staking platform should be out soon, and that'll kind of be when our focus will shift back to generating NFTs for the project.
All right, yeah, that's fair enough. I did have a question on Terminal B, though. I saw on the white paper it talked about 25% of your liquidity stabilizes the floor. So the reason I'm asking is, if Black Hole is mainly a burn token function where your members are essentially sacrificing, would it be more effective to take that 25% of held liquidity and put it against Terminal A, because that has the most outreach for your investors, because that's where you're looking for the crowdsourcing, that everybody's aping into a certain project that they think is going to benefit the project the most?
Yeah, I think that might have been something that I missed to update. We've been kind of crazy the last few days, the secondary site being built and everything like that. So I will correct that. And just so everybody knows, we had sat down and we had talked about it. And 25% was supposed to be the start liquidity. But the fact being is that we are forcing a bunch of money to ACS, because that will be the gem. And we do have to be able to cover a lot more of our liquidity over there. That'll be boosting that side just from the utilities that come. Now, when we sat there and said, well, if we do 25% liquidity, obviously it's going to be a slow-moving chart. And the second thing is that we're going to have 8% buying back and burning the supply. So at some point, we'll be upside down in the black hole. And liquidity probably will at some point rival the market cap. And anytime you guys do that, you guys know what happens. We've seen it on other projects where the more liquidity that you hold, it actually lowers the market cap as things start to stable out a little bit. So, we had actually stepped back from that, and we launched with about 7.5% liquidity, and we plan on building the black hole liquidity through the buyback.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely an interesting way of doing it. So I was thinking back to Terminal B, an interesting concept you guys might think of looking into. I would use Terminal B as a project gathering tool. And what I mean by that is, any project that you invest in, let's pretend USA Crypto Group had a coin and you want us to buy into your project. I would say, hey, USA Crypto Group, here's the services that we offer. Here's how we're going to hold your floor. For a 5 BNB initial investment, this pumps money into our project. But guess what? We have 200 people that will spend at least 1 to 2 BNB. So even though they gave an initial investment of 5 BNB, which funds the liquidity in your project, they're getting a better service because they have 200 people potentially, making an exponential growth in their charts as well as holders. So I'm not sure if you guys have looked into that aspect for Terminal B.
We haven't. Like I said, Terminal B was just a different utility, a mass burn and buyback utility that we threw out. Like I said, we were supposed to come out with the first ever rewards token that didn't dump the chart to pay holders, which was going to be a shocker as far as a utility to put out. We had, Don here was able to pull the partnership that we needed to secure technology that there would be no sell off the chart in order to produce a rewards token. Unfortunately, that had to be pushed back from technical difficulties on their side. So it's still coming. It's ready to take off, and it's actually in waiting right now. It's like I said, that's Don's baby. That'll be the rewards token that comes out.
Is that going to be the Terminal C that you've got listed on the website?
No, that'll be Terminal D.
Okay.
Terminal C, we went through an audit, which is as good a time to bring it up right now. Even after all our research and stuff like that, we had been talking to this other company for months, and And after we had our audit, one of the guys that ran the audit had come up and let us know that there was some things that he would like us, a report he would like us to look at. In order for him to be able to list us, there were some changes we had to make. And he was able to trace back some rather not professional actions that one of the companies we were giving Terminal C to a metaverse game because that was something we had no interest in, and they actually told us that we had to pull it down in order to be able to succeed in the audit due to some of the things they have done in the past that they were able to trace back. So Terminal C, we had already pretty much rented that out to somebody, and then after finding out about the things about a week ago, we had to go ahead and sever ties with that company and get them off the site and things like that. So that was something that, thank God, we did reach out, and the project hadn't launched yet, and it was something me and Don had kind of knew was coming. So the Terminal C was pulled down and shut down for right now, and we'll be back with it. Terminal D will actually be the rewards token. It's called Don't Look Back. And that will be the first ever rewards token that doesn't sell the chart and actually has a free rotating of new contracts coming in for the rewards. That way, so we can get the most bang for the dollar, selecting brand new projects.
I think that's really responsible of you guys to see an issue like that and go ahead and just handle it and basically do the right thing and get it taken care of before it got out to any of your holders. Are you guys ready to tell anybody about how this revolutionary rewards is going to happen, or is that going to be for a later date?
I will. I'll touch on it real quick. I can't explain the ins and outs. Obviously, we have a way that we're going to do it. And like I said, we'll be the first ever free brand new rotating rewards contract, which means that as it comes out in the market, we'll be able to slide it in. Everything will be run through a dashboard, only so the source code doesn't get out. So, with that being said, the source code actually won't be available to people until we get a good run at it. The rewards themselves will not sell off the chart. They'll be handled a different way. And then they'll be distributed by tiers, which was the whole point of ACS, because everybody knows what kills a reward project. Being last in and not seeing those rewards really pile up daily is kind of what does it for most people. There's at some point where you have to spend X amount is too much money for you to see a decent reward. So the way that we'll do it is we won't want people to spend a whole bunch of money. We don't want 1% and 2% holders. We'll want those people that hold inside the tier system so we can keep pushing numbers and splitting that pot between everybody. So it'll be something that's never been done before. That's going to be pretty much the way that things travel from here on out is all going to be old utilities with brand new twists and surprises. And it has taken up a lot of our time and a lot of our development, getting Don't Look Back to almost where it is today. So we would have actually been there, and it probably would have created more problems had we been impatient because of the technical difficulties with one of our partners. We probably would have been in a bad case, and things happen for a reason. We weren't ready yet, and then something happened on their side where they needed more time to be able to secure the things that they had coming forward. So we were grateful that we may have had to skip things around, and that's how this project started. This project started and nobody knew anything else was coming until a few months ago, and we've all known in the background and said, how much further you think we're going to get before people start wondering exactly what we're doing? And we didn't want to give too much away, because you know how it is. There's people that'll run and jump and throw out something that's absolutely horrible, but they'll be the first to the market with it and say, I was there. And, so we've been very quiet about the things that we're doing. Obviously, we're really close on DLB. We have all the puzzle pieces. There's no figuring out on that. We're waiting for for our partner to be ready to continue on that. So I'm not worried about letting people know exactly what it will do. How it will be a completely different subject. So we're keeping that close to the chest.
I just wanted to add as well that if we did release some of this information, don't get me wrong, we would get a lot more investors on board, but we are trying to protect what we're trying to achieve. So that's why we are keeping our secrets close to our heart, shall we say, or whatever sayings you guys use. But we're trying to protect our project and make sure that when we do release it, we are the first people to do it. And that's when you'll see some of the bangers come out, and that's when we will really make a big impact on the crypto market. And I'm really excited to see it. I wish I could tell you guys what it is, but we can't. We're trying to protect what we're doing. But if you're a part of the journey, when we release it, you'll understand why we kept quiet.
Yeah, you know, don't look back is the most important thing for don't look back to pull off is the secret sauce that we need for it to operate. But how don't look back? DLB was thought of. Me and Rich was on the phone one lovely afternoon, and we was like, man, I'm tired of looking over my shoulder, getting the feeling like I just been scammed and rugged. It's like I'm in a scary movie. You know what I'm saying? What happens in a scary movie? You look back, you die. Jason, like, he's slow. He's slow enough. You doing a 100-yard dash. Last time he looked back, he was in the wood line somewhere. As soon as you trip, he's right there and you die. That's what don't look back on. Don't look back on those times you was scammed, you was rugged. Don't look back on those times the devs lied to you. And don't look back when this one was like, hey, we finna mute the chat. Mute the chat. Next thing you know, VC is down. The Telegram is deleted. That's what don't look back is about. Stop threading on the past times that scared you so bad that you just want to give up on cryptocurrency itself. It's about looking towards the future to achieve and accomplish those financial dreams, those financial goals, those win Lambos. That's what don't look back is all about. The road to financial freedom.
Yeah, definitely understand that. Everybody calls it the crypto university. We all get hammered in the beginning, and then eventually we go up and usually get lucky. But it's all about experience and learning what works.
Yes,
so I know you kind of mentioned it, but terminals D and A sound kind of similar to me. So if you could, without giving us information on exactly what it is, give us one point that explains how it's different and what the function change is going to be.
The function change, I guess the difference between them will be that this will be something that's voted on. A will be pretty much community ran, and as of right now, A is a tax-free, and it's a once a month airdrop to the holders after 30 days. This will be a continuous once a day, every 24 hours. DLB will go ahead and drop rewards, and it won't affect the chart at all. So, that's the difference between the two. One is, like I said, is purchased one time, and the other one is pretty much ran, and it's however we want. There's no hold time on DLB. But the why they kind of sound similar is because that we're working on bringing a fairness back to the market that really hasn't been there. And that's the reason we're focused on tier distribution, because we believe that we'll get a lot further. Not putting caps on the rewards for people, and instead of saying, hey, you came in here, you were first. Obviously, you get your discount on the price for being early, but as far as the rewards coming out, we want to remain fair where people don't say, I missed out on this section of the rewards. And that's what that all comes to, why they seem kind of similar. So would be what I would say would be the big difference.
Awesome. Can't wait to see what you guys pull out of your hat for that one. I wanted to clarify really quickly on the tiered rewards, because it was a little spicy on your website. Is it like 0.5 BNB qualifies you for the first tier? does that is that in purchase or is that in held? Like, is that fixed or a variable rate?
Well, we went ahead and when we first started, we wanted to be purchased, and then we slowly found out that being able to continue tracking that with people trading was going to be very difficult. So what we went ahead and what the tool set up for now is the tool set up to classify these based on your holdings. That way, so the people that got in early, we didn't want them to feel like they were trapped. Obviously, the people that got grandfathered in, but as we start to do better, we want to encourage trade volume. And, trade volume is very healthy for a project. It produces the fees and everything like that. So we want people later on to be able to take those profits. And the only way to be able to track these is based on their value that they hold. So, if you bought 0.5 or something like that, and, if the price does drop a little bit, we obviously will backtrack it and we'll grandfather that in. We don't want people buying 0.5 and then having to go back and buy 0.2. So pretty much what we look at is we go back to the sales and everything. And, if you bought 0.5 and you sold 0.3, obviously you're out of that running. But if you bought 0.5 worth at the time, and the price had dropped, then you're good to go. There's a leeway there to account for the loss, and the way these things are sectioned off and done is because most of our people had a top tier holding in our last one. There was maybe about 20 or 25 people that didn't have a top tier holding. They were in the second and third, and it's practically run on a dividend like a staking pool, where these people get this amount of the pie, and then it's divided between, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 1. Because, saying that, 20% goes to people that bought 0.5, they essentially could make more money than the people if there's too many in tier 3. So we went ahead and we found out the math for that to go ahead and classify and then adjust the prices where it needs to go where.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I know that, being able to track, exact purchases all the way back and it is very tedious and hard to find programs for. So I completely get that. I wanted to kind of direct us into the NFTs. I saw that you have the Air Central Sharks and you've got 31 out of 500 claimed on those. Just wanted to see what price point was on and what's your goal with that NFT project.
All right, so right now the price point is 0.6. Sol. I think at the time that we went ahead and did that, Sol was at maybe $90 to $95, and we wanted something cheap because you start looking at some of these NFTs and they're like 0.01 ETH, and we wanted to put it on Sol because we figured Sol was something kind of new and upcoming for the NFT market. Now, what the goal for that is, and we're still working on that, and that's kind of been slowed a little bit between everything else we have going on. We're actually coming out with staking for those NFTs, and those NFTs will be staked back for Sol based on the purchase value. So we'll eventually get back on track where we're pushing that as soon as the actual staking comes out. But it hasn't been something we've been pushing a lot. Now, we also have, which should be out, I want to say before the end of the month, at the beginning of next month, we have boarding passes. Which will be for higher yield staking and things like that that'll come out. We actually have 3 categories, first class, business, and economy. So there'll only be 500 first class tickets that'll ever be minted. And that'll be the elite people that get whitelisted on some of the bigger things because eventually we're going to blow up. I know when we put out DLB, it will be the first of its kind. And then we have 2 other things that are coming out that have never been done before. They have been done before, just not to this type of standard as far as safety and things like that. So when those things start coming out, it will be essential to hold that first class, the business, and the economy tickets because we're hoping that at some point that's going to be the only way you'll be able to really get a hold of any of the ACS projects from moving forward after DLB. So, and we have some examples that I'll drop either in your guys' chat if that's all right with you or into our chat if you guys like to see them. They've been done for a little while, and we've been trying to hold off and get that stuff done.
Yeah, if you'd like to drop those into chat, feel free to do those anytime.
Yeah, so to have some more questions on the NFTs, I did see that there's going to be a minimal run, and on the site it said you're going to start off at 1,000 and then add 500 as needed. So now that we know the 0.6 around $90 is going to be the fee, how does that work with your whitelist positions? Do you have to have a certain amount of NFTs? Because it sounds, for me, what I understand of the project, if you have an NFT and you invest in a project, you are automatically whitelisted, correct? So that kind of bypasses the sweep widgets and the rat race trying to go around and do a million different verifications so you could potentially make it into a project.
Yeah, absolutely. It solves a lot of the extra things, and what it really gets down to, because there's going to be nothing stopping people if they buy a first class ticket from either trading that or selling that to someone else. And we're trying to get through, you know, it's like you go anywhere else and you have your loyalty discount. That's what it's all about. You come in, your ACS family, and it's just like any other part of your family. Your family's going to get a first dib on anything. A good deal comes by your family. You know, you're gonna call your dad or you're gonna call your mom and say, hey, I found this. You know, that's the same way we're treating these boarding passes. You know, the people that come on and do this with us, you know, we're trying to build a strong family, a strong community of people. And what better way to do it than reward them? And that's really what we're looking forward to, because you're right, it is a long stretch to go ahead and get the sweep widgets out. And then, you know, you get people that find ways around the sweep widget, either it be bots or however they do it. You know, there's a hack for everything. The only thing that there isn't a hack for is you actually holding a token verifier. And, you know, for the people that went ahead and, you know, we had people that minted out 3 or 4 of the sharks, we went ahead and we gave them, you know, as far as a first class seating for holding those 3 sharks, which will be a lot cheaper when the tickets come out for the first class holders, because we're not going to be selling them for BNB, which is the chain they'll be on, because they'll just be a verifier. They'll be either traded in for ACS, and that will really be the only way that you'll be able to purchase those. Those won't be available on to buy with BNB, the first class tickets.
That's great. I really like the rewards you put in there. It's kind of like a frequent flyer for airlines. So with the business and the economy class, what are the benefits of having those versus the first class portion?
When things are whitelisted, you know, as everything, you know, we'll like I said, right back to the tiers, which we're trying to implement a lot in here. They'll get a head start when these pre-sales come out, and that'll be higher as far as a higher payout for their pre-sale slots and the time that they have in order to buy these projects as we move forward. Obviously, there'll be a cap, but it's just you know, guaranteeing them a spot in the utilities to come. And then on top of it, when staking comes, you'll be able to stack those boarding passes for higher yield, which means that as long as you use the same wallet, that, you know, there'll be whitelisted spots for higher APY staking. So, you know, those are the 2 real big things as far as what the boarding passes will do later on and how they'll benefit people.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So my big question with that is, if you're talking about staking in the future, and the boarding passes obviously are a utility, they bring in a cash income. So what other sources of utility are you guys planning to bring on board that brings an external revenue where someone has to use your service and wants to use it to fund the staking pools, to fund the airdrops, and the liquidity for your project?
So we have a bunch of things that are coming out. As we said, as we drop utilities, that 2% tax will come back to ACS, and that's the money that's going to be used to kind of fuel everything else going on. So that would be, as far as the NFTs that are selling out, that will be the money raised by the NFTs will obviously be filtered back out to holders for staking. And really what we're trying to do is just give back as much as possible to the holders. The other things that we have coming out, the DAO, which will be a big play in a money generator, because that will have its own treasury. That treasury will be used to stack against other things that are going on too. So
I just wanted to add as well is that a lot of projects are reliant on the utilities coming out, depending on how successful their token, their first or second token, goes. But one thing which we've done, I think, pretty smartly is that we had the financial backing or the money behind us to actually be able to pay and to fund the projects for our future utilities to come out, which means that they will come out no matter how well our first or second token or even third token comes out, for example. So that 2% going back into ACS from every utility in the future will happen whether we have $5,000 invested over the next 5 months in the token, not from investors. That 2% will from every project go back into it. So that will happen in the future, and it isn't dependent on the success of the token. But when those utilities do come out, that token will push up a lot. So so the financial side of things is safe on that aspect, and I think that's what we've done differently from a lot of projects out there which are relying on money coming in from the token. And as we all know, they say, oh, we haven't done well, we're going to release a new token or do a rebranding and so forth, which I've seen a lot in some of the projects which I've been looking at. But yeah, that's what I just wanted to add. So those projects will come out no matter what happens, which is a great thing on our end.
yeah, and Alan's right there. That is a big difference between us and the rest of our tokens. Is we've been in development for months now. You know, we're gonna keep on going, and things are coming to a close. As you could say, you know, there hasn't been a dollar of either ACS or the black hole that's been spent on either of those tokens, and there really hasn't been anything else that hasn't come out of our team pockets for the DLB or for the other utilities that are almost done and ready to come to light. Everything else has been funded by the inner team. So that is a big difference. And being the first to bring things to the market the way that we're about to, obviously rewards tokens are everywhere. But to do them in the style that we're about to do it is going to be something that when the first rewards get dropped and people go back to look at the chart and it's still green and it's still healthy and still sitting where it was, that'll separate us a little bit. And then, you know, on the other side, you know, people that are coming in the backside, they're not going to feel like they were left out. You know, and we believe being the first to promote things that have never happened before is going to produce the hype for us. Between that and the partnerships and bringing on brand new concepts and things like that, we'll continue to do well, and the project will do well, and it'll, you know, eventually at some point we'll be able to start having it take care of itself, but it's not something that we need in the immediate future.
I think that's great. You guys funding everything from the front end definitely shows your commitment to this project long term, and you know, you guys aren't running away because all your money's in it. I did see that there was a 2% dev tax in Terminal B, but I didn't look up the pre-sale. How substantial is the dev wallets in all of these pre-sales and the upcoming?
The last one wasn't all that big. You know, I think it was like 7 beans or something like that we were able to raise in the last one, and that's sitting for buybacks and things like that. So, you know, we wanted to make sure that if the chart did take a turn south, that we did exactly what we said and we were able to boost that. So the people that either sell off or anything like that didn't have an opportunity to really come back to the same spot, pretty much leaving them in the dust. So, you know, we didn't do a very big one. Even on Doken, we didn't have a lot of support, and that's kind of why we're just now starting the marketing. Our concept is since we're paying for it out of pocket, was that we wanted to make sure that the development was where it needed to be before we started doing big market pushing. And, you know, we've got an AMA with you guys tonight. We just hired another marketing agency to go ahead and then we have about another $15,000 in marketing that should be coming in before either the middle of this month. We were hoping that DLB would be out. So when we did push that big marketing, it was directing people towards a brand new ideal a different way to do the same utility, which is what we've been preaching about, since we started. We're putting our own little twist in things. So we're trying to hold off on that big marketing push. But right now, everything that we've done is word of mouth.
Yeah, no, I definitely like where you're going with that. You want to save the revenue that you guys have raised and then your personal revenue and put it at the most, I guess you could say, a high point, because right now the market's kind of uncertain. So that's a good strategy for that. So since we've talked a little bit about how you guys are going to be funding and some of the directions you're going with the different terminals, let's talk a little bit about your roadmap. And it looks like you're on track with quarter one. You've already started tracking the record of investments and what you've achieved so far. So the best one you guys did was the Floki that I looked at. Can you talk a little bit about that project and what brought you to it?
Yeah, I have it right here in front of me. Okay, so the Floki project was actually a good friend of mine. We were together in this token that was called Scoob B&B Do. It was a 24% B&B rewards, and we tried to help as far as being in the back seat, and we had a lot of issues. Me and him had a ton of issues doing that. The things that we were doing, the dev was going against, and at some point we said, hey, we were pretty much the first investors that were there, and we were helping run things in the background, either with money or time. And at some point, me and him said, hey, this just isn't gonna work. The guy was raising, he was like on his 10th or 12th round of raising money, and at some point we said, hey, at this point, I think it's best if we step back, and me and him did. We stepped back. He went his way, I went my way, and I started on my journey. This was maybe almost 2 years ago. I started on my journey of beginning to learn how to do the things that I know now, and really taking a front force forward. So Yeet Floki they're actually a partner of ours. And that was something that we went ahead and we paid for out of our own pocket for the airdrop. They're going to start a trending site, kind of like Coin Sniper, and what they're going to do is they're going to use their tokens to recycle. So you'll have to buy tokens to use their service, and then as they're going ahead and trading these things out, those reflections will go back to the community. So X amount of their proceeds from running this platform will be paid to their holders, and that's really why they're doing so great at what they're doing right now. So they're probably another month from having the full site up and running, and it will be something very nice. So I've kind of got some inside knowledge on that one, and I've been watching and listening, and just kind of waiting for them to blow off because it's going to happen. They're going to do very nice things in the market. So that was one of them. The other one that we dropped to our holders was Genos, and that is actually one of the co-owners of Doken. They're also doing the same thing. If you go ahead and you look at Genos and Doken, they're run by the same team, 2 different branches, and everything that comes off their launchpad as far as the money paid for the launchpad gets distributed to their holders. So that was another one that we believe in Doken very well. Doken's got some very high-tech things coming in, and Genos is part of that ecosystem. So that was one of the easy decisions that we made was, okay, we'll drop Genos because right now they're undervalued. Between them and Doken, they're way undervalued, and we think we'll see that, as we always have people that have been in the space for a long time. We'll see that on the next bull run, where they'll do very well for themselves and really make a big name for people that haven't heard them before.
No, I think that's great. The consistent support, kind of like what you're saying. So quarter 2, which is where we're just starting, you do have the talk of becoming potentially a Shark Tank, so a venture capitalist that not only scouts but initially funds, and that's kind of what you're talking about with the ground floor. So The reason I brought up quarter two is looking at both the tokens right now and the market caps and then the liquidity that you guys have in both. Right now, the numbers are kind of minimal, but from talking to you, it sounds like you as the developers, the main team members have funded out of your own pocket. So I just want to make sure you're not trying to overdo yourselves when supporting the new projects.
No, we're not trying to, obviously what we'll do is for now is really help in the best way we can and produce the liquidity that we can for them. If it takes us a little bit longer to get there, it's what it takes, and we'll contribute in as many ways as possible. If we can't be a shark tank of liquidity, if we can't drop 50, 60 grand to hold some of these projects in line, we'll help with knowledge and whatever else we can. So, we were probably a little overzealous knowing that we, things that we're supposed to hit at the beginning of this month, which would have raised that capital to go ahead and do the things that we needed to do. If we have to rotate things around and make things work, and obviously, a roadmap is written out based on contingencies of the community. So, if we're a little late on that, we'll go ahead and we'll figure out what we can do to speed that up. But we're just at the beginning of Q2. So.
No, definitely. It's a pretty cool roadmap. I just wanted to check in on that and see where you guys were standing, and just like I said, make sure you're not overreaching for your guys' selves, because it sounds like you've taken the step and invested your own personal funds. So like I said, I would hate to see someone who's trying to do a good thing, potentially hurt themselves and not be able to bring something that could be of use to everybody in the market. So going on to quarter three, I know that's kind of in the future, but I would highly suggest against the Launchpad. There's so many different projects going for the same thing. Unless you truly have something that's groundbreaking, I'd say that would not be a good use of resources. And I've seen big projects and small projects promise the same thing, and even the big projects are mainly failing at that right now. That might be something like way down the road if you guys start making it big, but it's just so.
If you look at that, I believe that's just a development, and there is a reason, and I get what you're saying, and I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry about that. There is a reason that we will be coming out with our own Launchpad. It will coexist and tie into something else that we are doing. That will be a game changer. And I see Alan up there smiling because he knows what I'm talking about. So, you're right. People are failing at launch pads, and there's, if you really look at them and you take them and you break them down, there's an easy way to tell, as far as from different places, why things aren't working exactly the way they should. And, we have a think tank, and we all sit together, we mash these things out, and that will tie in directly to something else that we're working on, because that won't be trying to figure out a way to say it without saying it. That won't be directly tied to what's known today. So that's just something that we're going to start building and start constructing. Obviously, it won't be done until, I think I set like a year path on this in February. So, and our next 3 or 4 utilities are almost done. Well, I'll say the next 3 utilities are almost done. They're in the testing phase. And then our big one tied to the launch pad should be going into testing sometime in August. So, yeah. A lot of shockers and a lot of big surprises coming on. We've taken a direct look at the safety of the market, and we've been on a mission here to save the BSC, and as OG Prime, he came out a few weeks ago, or maybe a week or 2 ago, and he says, we're little. How do we fix something that's so broken that that we feel is almost out of reach? And we started looking at things, and I had looked at things because my own father, he says there'd be nice if there was some sort of system in place, and that's all I'll say about it, as far as making sure things are safe. And this was months and months ago, and he says I would be on board to do something like that, and I kind of took that to heart, and I said, well, we can't change what's already existing, but if we implement something ourselves and make enough noise with it, we'll be able to set a standard for the way trading and the way things are done. So, I mean, I know that's kind of vague, but that's really all I can say on that, because that is something we want to drop that on people, and we don't want people really knowing anything about that one.
Awesome. Well, I would love to spend 5 minutes inside your brain with what you've come up to fix BSC, because you definitely have me curious at this point. So I'll definitely be hopping into your Telegram to kind of keep watch on what you guys have up your sleeves. It's going to be definitely interesting.
Yeah. At this point, I think we're done asking the preliminary questions from our main part of the group, from the admins. I would like to open the floor to everybody else, and then we'll go through the announcement channel and ask any type questions as well. So if anybody has any questions, let's hit it.
No questions, guys? We got
Actually,
in the chat, maybe.
we do have some questions in the room, but I do have a questions, guys. Hey, first, I really appreciate you guys being here, and it came across you guys are very honest and dark, so that's a plus for the community. But I do have a question. By the way, good job on the launchpad. I think the launchpad is actually necessary in order for you to tie everything together. Pretty much bringing the projects to your doorstep, right? So with that said, currently with your Terminal A, how are you guys scoping out these projects and the vetting process?
Usually what they do is they will start out, someone will, either on our inner team, will find them. And then me and Don, or even Alan, or OG, we go in there and we act just like we're a regular investor, and we start asking questions, and we make sure to ask some of the difficult questions from a developer background. There was one of them, I won't say the name, but they had a protocol that they were implementing, and I went in there, and within a few minutes I was able to, and I felt bad about it, but able to break down their entire system where they didn't have the answers I was looking for. We'll use a good example, Snowburn. Snowburn was supposed to be a rebase token on AVAX, and I went in there and I said, what they did is they rebased 50% of everything that was bought or sold. They erased it. Now a regular rebase token, you would have to normally see, and some of you guys know this, that it would diminish the tokens inside your wallet. It would rebase every X amount of hours, 8 or 6 or 4, and it would literally lower the supply of tokens in your wallet. And I went in there and asked the right questions. Unfortunately, we couldn't bridge to AVAX because that would have been someone that we would have been excited, and we're still good friends, me and the dev over there. But he was able to answer the question. So if they pass that and they can get through to answering, some of our tough questions, knowing exactly what we're looking for, then we go ahead and we start breaking down how much time have they put in the site, what's the developer wallet look like as far as how many projects have they put out, is there anything that we can find that they've been related to on before, the website, what does that look like, how much time have they really spent on it, and then we go ahead and we break down the functions of the contract. A remint, anything that can be paused, anything where the taxes can really be changed to 100%. Not things that we're really fond of. And then we do kind of do what everybody else does. We take a minute and we sit back and we'll be inside and outside the Telegram. We'll watch things as best as we can. And some of the biggest projects that we've seen that we've actually decided not to go with, we were able to find out that they were really rough with the way that they talk to their investors. And sometimes even just that's enough to just say, well, if they don't have respect for the people, for the community that's making them, how much respect can they have for themselves, and how much honor can they really have? So sometimes it's an easy call. Sometimes we really have to dig. And then sometimes, we have another partnership, OG. We talked to her for months before we even put her on the website. And that was after seeing what she had, and really digging into them. So we're definitely doing our due diligence, which is what's hard about right now. We obviously haven't been throwing people in this category left and right. But everyone we've dug into them. We've made sure that things that are operating the way that they want, and they're really a pleasure to be around. And now we have 6 or 7 projects that we're tightly partnered with that have passed our vetting.
I also just wanted to add that sometimes when you're doing that amount of due diligence, sometimes you do miss a project or two when they're starting off and doing their 10 or 20 times X's and so forth. But the whole point is to make sure that those investments are safe. So you sometimes miss one, but you're better off making sure that you have a bunch of good projects which are safe to get involved with. They're then taking that risk or that chance getting involved in the project too early and really risking our community's money and our money and so forth. So you take a chance sometimes, but you just want to make sure that you do things properly. So I just wanted to add.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think the vetting process, as we know in the space, sometimes you can do everything you can and in the project's docs or KYC and audit it, and you still get rug. So yeah, no, it's definitely a very tough. You cannot weed out 100% with everything, for sure. But yeah, back to what Josh was saying. I think if implemented the Launchpad correctly, and you guys have a system in place, I think that will really bring projects to you guys, and that will really help you guys with that process. Yeah. I do have another question on Terminal A. It does say that 7% every transactions used to buy into new projects. And I do see the marketing tax and liquidity tax and insurance tax, but I didn't see really an overall, like a tax breakdown. Would it safe to say is that, around 15, 16%, or like 8% buy and 8% sell? Is that what it is?
Yeah, everything we're going to put out. We believe 15% tax is a healthy number for tax, and it's just like the black hole. The black hole also has 15% tax. I'm sorry, I figured that would have been somewhere on the website. It's possible that it's not, but yeah, everything we put out will have a 15% tax until it gets to the Dow. The Dow will actually have a less percent tax.
There was a breakdown for Terminal B, but I didn't see a breakdown for Terminal A. I do see the breakdown, but not like a very clear as far as buy and sell for Terminal A. Another question I have is that, right now, obviously you guys are very ambitious. You guys are like talking about 13 terminals, which is amazing, right? And so in talking to you guys, I definitely see where you came up with the Amazon of crypto. I wish we can hear more. Maybe we have a follow-up AMA down the line. But with that said, usually the original coin, which is your Terminal A, right? Most investors look at it like the most important coin, dictate whether, pretty much kind of see how the projects will follow as far as other coins after that. Is that a concern for you guys? And if it is, and what you guys, you guys recognize that? Are you putting some focus onto that to making sure that the market cap and everything goes well with Terminal A? Does that take priority?
As with the 2% tax that will flood back in, and that'll be just bought and burned. Our focus is always everything we do, and I know that kind of sounds weird, but we have different people that are taking development on other terminals, and they do their thing and they focus on what they have. Terminal A is going to be the gem, but like I said, everything we've done so far has been word of mouth, and an airdrop token's not for everybody. So at some point when we do start pushing marketing, that will be the brand name. ACS is Air Central Station, and there's another website coming up that will obviously incorporate that a little bit bigger, but that will be our gem. And like I said, we've hardly done any marketing. We've been mainly focused on development, because if we don't produce the things that we need to produce, the entire dream is kind of gone. So we were setting ourselves up to make sure that the things that we need to be done ready. That way, so we can boost Terminal A. Everything that we do will have a tax back to Terminal A. So at some point when DLB comes out, if that's what does it for everybody, and we do believe DLB will be huge, that 2% will go back into there.
Yeah, that sounds great. And hearing you guys, putting out your money to fund the project as well. So that shows me the level of commitment you guys have. I do see that, well, I think everyone kind of recognizes that you have a lot of projects out there in the BSC space where they have, the original coin, and they launch a baby coin, right? And they're trying to raise almost 3 times as much as original coin. And that never ends up well, because people look at the original coin, 300,000 market cap, for example, and they want to launch it at 1 million initial market cap for the baby coin. So sometimes the investor put that together and they're like, well, if you didn't do well on the first one, why would you trying to do the second coin with like 3x on the market cap? But it seems like you guys do recognize that, and you guys trying to have everything points towards Terminal A, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. That was something that, and Terminal A, by the time we're all said and done, with the tax that's going into it right now, it'll be somewhere along the lines of almost 30% tax that's flowing into Terminal A. And obviously for people to trade on that floor, it won't cost people the same ouch that it does to trade on something that did have a 30% tax, either a buy or sell tax coming in, because obviously that's an outrageous tax, first of all, for anyone to pay to trade. But if you were to step into it for the 15% and know that there was another almost 30% flowing into it, not including that most of that tax goes back to you guys anyway, almost half that tax goes back to you guys in the form of an airdrop. And the idea is to not, let's not say maximize your return, but to make sure that your investment does good on the airdrop, because we're not looking at it from an X's point of view. We're looking at it from giving good projects a solid floor to stand on. And that's really what it comes down to. There's devs out there that have really great intentions. And the way the market is right now, obviously, it hasn't been a great market. There's some things that are doing well, but I feel like we're in the pump and dump stage of the market, and people are getting in there quick. They're getting their money and they're getting out. But, as far as Terminal A, we're trying to put it to where, yeah, you can come in and you can paper hand it all you want, but there's going to be a solid floor eventually that Terminal A is putting out for people. And that will be the turning point for these projects. And, that to us is a big deal. So, yeah, Terminal A is going to be the gem of it. We understood coming in that they're as we continue to drop our first token, had to do extremely well to set an example and a path for the rest of our tokens.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, that sounds great. It seems like you guys still recognize that. So right now, when you guys approach these projects, what let's say if you found a great project and you went through the vetting process, like currently, is there any hardship that your conversion rate to this project, because you guys are so early at the moment? You guys find it difficult at the moment right now, or?
Yeah, I will. You want to say something, Alan? No. I will.
No, you go first, and I'll go afterwards. Don't worry, you go for it first.
You go ahead, Alan. You go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, it doesn't necessarily completely answer the question, but when you're getting in so early into a new project, sometimes they're still developing things, which means that you're not seeing the chart, should I say, go up pretty quickly. And that's sometimes one of the things when you get involved in a new project, you have to be a bit patient. So some projects boom quickly, some projects take a while, the slow burns, and then they progress after a while. I think that's only one of the things when you're getting involved in a new project, you just sometimes don't know how quickly it's going to go up or how long it would take. But I'll let Rich answer the rest of that. I just wanted to put that input in there.
Well, I know one thing for sure. We do have a little bit of trouble. Let's use Grow Up as a prime example. We stepped into Grow Up as an official partner a few weeks ago, and we look for things that have extremely high potential. Now, their market cap is very low, but the technology they're about to unleash on the crypto communities is intense, and that's what it's. We find giants that are sleeping, and we poke them with a stick, and when they're ready to jump out and bring something new to the market. That's what we talk about when we try to find gems and diamonds in the rough. And they started out with a very little concept, and then next thing you know, we start talking to them a week later. And this is the great point about slowing down and really taking apart communities and giving them the time they need to figure out what they're doing. Because like I said, Grow Up's going to unleash something that's never been done before. And they're going to do very well as far as what they're doing, because it's going to be something kind of a stretch of my imagination, and me knowing the market and technology the way I do. When they started telling me what they were doing, I said, okay, this is going to be big. And that's what it's all about. People don't understand the concept until it's done and it's rolling and it's in your hand. But with the right inside knowledge and vision on where things are headed, it kind of makes decisions a lot easier. Although it's not our technology to let loose, we know they're going to do well. They're going to bring a change to the space. To this very action that we're doing right now will be handled quite differently. Yeah. So we're excited for them, and it's all about finding the diamonds in the rough.
That's who I was thinking of as well when they said you just don't quite know how quickly someone's their chart's going to progress and how quickly they're going to go up. Because growing up is, as you said, is a diamond in the rough. Me and Richard know it is going to blow up and it's going to do well.
Yeah.
But they're just taking the time, and that's all. Not every project which will be great in the future grows quickly. If you're lucky enough to get involved in them, that's great. You just have to be patient, because when they do go, they will rock it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that, to be honest. And it's nice that whatever advice we give them during that time before they do rock it, then that's great. But it's only a matter of time. But yeah, anyway, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I definitely can sense the conviction in you guys. You guys got the passion behind you guys for sure. And I look forward to see the developments and the updates. 100%. Too bad you couldn't say anything on here, but some things better kept a little secret first, right? Because you don't want other people to jump ahead and implement your strategy, right? Because it looks like you guys have a lot of plans. Thank you so much. But yeah, if you guys ever vet out good projects, man, we love to bring them on here as well. So
Yeah, we'll keep that in mind. As we start finding them, we're still, like I said, we're vetting workers, and we're vetting marketing strategies as we go, and obviously on a smaller scale to see what works and what doesn't work. We do have some foolproof stuff that's sitting in the background, waiting for us just to get a little bit bigger. Because obviously, you have smaller strategies for people that have smaller budgets, and some of our partners have smaller budgets, some of them don't. But we also like to make sure that we make things as safe as possible. So we're still testing out marketing to see what is actually good for the growth. And Sugarland actually sent us your way. So I didn't know if you had knew that, but they were the ones who recommended you guys to us. So
that's awesome. Glad to hear
that is amazing. I think that's amazing, because we remember talking to Sugarland, and she's used to paying a lot of money for these botted room, right? And I think she sent us a little message. It was like, oh my gosh, I was told that maybe like 5 or 10 people showed up, because I'm used to like showing up to bigger rooms and they couldn't even do 30 or something like that. And so that's the reason why we got botted 6,000 bots. We actually clean it up. So everything that you see here is organic, 100%. And it's the reason why you guys are here with us, because, we like real people, docs, KYC audited. I think it's important that all of us play a little role in clean up the space, and that's what we do. So yeah, appreciate that. And if you see Mia says thank you, really appreciate it for recommending you guys.
Yeah,
All right, we've got a
absolutely.
couple questions in the chat
Go for it.
from Sam Paz. Writes, did you consider community feedback and requests during the creation of your product in order to expand on fresh ideas for your project? Many projects fail because the target audience and clients are not understood. So I'd like to know who your ideal consumer is for your product.
I've got this one. So that was kind of the reason, as far as everybody has their own utility, and the ideal consumer isn't initially some of us people that have been in this market for a long time. We're trying to streamline things. So the ideal consumer is someone that doesn't have a great grip on how to get to different parts of these utilities. And we believe by placing them all in the front side, where that's the first thing they see, is a breakdown of how things work on the website, and having pretty much the terminals all there laid out, they can not only understand what's going on, but Alan does a really good job at explaining things on our YouTube channel. So that's also on the website. He's got a few videos on how to do some basic things. And then for the people that are really distinguished and know what they want, I'm a DAO man. I like to go in, I like to bond, I like high APY, and I actually do in my spare time search out new DAOs and things like that to test. And that's my utility. That's what I love. And finding a good one's tough, but we're putting so much out that way. So if something fancies you, we'll have that there on the website. So the ideal consumer is not only people that haven't seen that this can be streamlined, but also people that are in search of a certain utility. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, I think they got most of it. You talked about the target audience and all that. So we do have another question from Calvin Cyril. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. How many partners does your project currently cooperate with? And I'm not sure if this just means other projects or people behind the scenes are helping fund the growth of your project.
Well, right now there's nobody else helping fund the project. That's all done in our team. We have Grow Up, we have Organic Growth, which they're going to be taking over the vetting process of workers and things like that, escrow style. Prime Cut calls, because we all have seen those bad call groups that are botted, and they'll stack 5 or 6 call groups on top of each other. So that's OG's a very important part of the puzzle, because he also believes in cleaning up the space, and he doesn't do any insider calls. He doesn't send it out to 50 people and say buy this token and then bring some stragglers along. Everything he does, he notifies the room as soon as it happens and says, hey, this is what I'm looking at, and that's really nice to see. Doken's an official partner, which they have just bridged over to Crow. They'll be doing the Crow Launchpad, and they'll be doing the BSC Launchpad, and on top of all their staking and everything, they just came out with a liquidity locker. Yeet, Floki, Genos, we have partnered with all these tokens that all are taking a different aspect but share our morals. And as far as getting information, as far as support for different projects and things like that, we actually have a room of over 60 developers. Obviously, not all ours. Some of them are ours, but from other projects too that we've brought into the network that we share our workers or ideas with. And we're also using them to problem solve whenever we run into those. So, our network is very extensive right now for as little as we are. And it's, it's just all waiting until we really blast off. I believe then we'll we'll start seeing a lot more in the network and a lot more people sharing between us and things like that to make things happen.
Perfect. You actually answered the other half of the question, so I really like that. And then you've already talked about what you look for in a project. So we're going to go to the next question. It says that CryptoSpace Gems, you should add a section on the website where you can input your wallet address and see what tier you are.
And I would actually add on to that, just as similar to a staking dashboard where it shows you what tier you're in and how many people are in it to kind of show you what your share of that tier would be.
That was from SS, by the way.
Yeah, I scrolled up and I had caught it. So for right now, and this has been something that has been brought up before, we're trying our best to implement that all on the new site, and which that will be available to everybody as soon as there's big pieces of that puzzle we're fitting into that site right now and making things work not as they normally would, but also having the security there that goes with it, because everybody knows right now that there's been some hacks in as far as the BSC and other big coins and stuff like that here recently. I don't know if you guys have heard, but security's got to be the biggest thing. And what we want to do is be able to have you guys connect your wallet to it, which we believe is going to be a stretch. And we're trying to find a way for you guys not to do that, as far as, a copy and paste in and then, do things like that. So we are working on that. For right now, what we recommend is that I use PooCoin for some of my trading, and that's kind of where I base my purchases off of, because it automatically tracks. But we are in the process of getting that squared away for you guys.
Awesome. That sounds great. That was one of the things that I had noticed that would make things useful as well. So thanks for the great question, SS.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So at this point, it looks like that's all the questions. We'll do one more ask for the live chat. And if we don't receive anything, we'll get to the next part. All right. So that does look like all the questions for tonight. So what I would like from you guys is basically a 2 to 3 minute elevator pitch. I want you guys to highlight everything that you think it's important for us to know as a potential investor to really sell your project.
All right, do you want to roll through this, Alan, or you want me to?
You can take part of it. I don't mind starting. I don't mind. What do you prefer?
Go, give it a run.
All right. So first of all, I want to say there's not many projects out there which have a fully doxed team, which are completely honest, transparent, and are open about what we're doing. Not only that, obviously, we're building up partnerships with other legitimate projects in the space, who are like-minded and trying to make a difference. But I think one of the big factors, or one of the big differences between us and other projects, is that as I mentioned before, we haven't relied on investor money to progress in what we're doing. Everything we will be releasing will be released due to our own money being invested into it, which means that, in all honesty, that it won't affect our project negatively. We are going to succeed, whether you're with us or not. And that's one of the things that I'm excited about. On top of that, not only that, we're not here just to, obviously, we are here to help people invest and create wealth for themselves, but we also run a YouTube channel, which is not just a channel to get people to invest with us. It's also an educational channel, which means that we're trying to teach people how to go through the crypto space, whether it's having to learn to use a wallet, how to spot a scam investment, or just learning about our partners who we work with. So we're trying to make sure that everyone we work with and the people we don't work with, they have a fair shot of succeeding in this space. Now, I'll let Richard continue, because he's pretty good at this kind of thing, to be honest.
Yeah, as far as the highlights, Alan pretty much nailed everything. But we're taking things that have not done very well, failed, and the biggest thing is that people and developers are saying it's not a 10x. I'm walking from it. And the continuous drive in providing security, and like I said, our LPs, as far as our side of the tokens, are all burned as extra security for you guys in the way that the market's playing. We couldn't do anything with the money, regardless. And that's something that's needed in the market. It's needed, that extra blanket of security. And we know one of the biggest things that is forgotten everywhere. A token is what the community makes it. You guys have seen meme coins run off with no utility or no nothing. We're bringing a lot to the table, and in a few months you guys will see what we're talking about. And we're taking things out of the control of, as far as Binance, CZ. Obviously, we're not going to be able to reach CZ right now and make him understand anything that we have to say as far as fixing stuff. But what we can do is work around him and produce a system that he has no choice but to say, this is working, this needs to be done. And eventually, hopefully, the rest of the chains will follow suit. So we've got a lot of innovative stuff coming. We're all about the community. We do as much give back as we can, and we're always available to answer questions.
No, I think it's really good that you guys are not just thinking at the higher level, but you're also doing it at a personal level for your investors. So I'm assuming with that, you guys will be doing AMAs on a periodic basis to keep your people in tune with the project, correct?
Absolutely. We usually try to stick to about once a week AMAs. Here lately I've been a little busy. I've had a lot of stuff going on in the background as far as getting things ready for the next step. So I don't believe we had one. Did we have one last week?
I don't think so, but no, I released a YouTube video just explaining to people about our latest project, how to get involved, whether it's PooCoin, PancakeSwap. Because we have some people in our community asking, how can we buy the token on PancakeSwap? So anytime we're asked something, whether it's an AMA, or if we have to check out a YouTube video, they get the information. Whether we have to tell them in our Telegram group, we try and make sure that we're there as much as possible.
All right, guys. So we're going to ask everybody real quick to go over to the Air Central Station group on Telegram. You should be able to see the link in our Telegram group right now and say at USA Crypto Great AMA, win cash to be available for a $25 prize for going over there and typing it in. And then
the other thing we'd like to say is, remember, these AMAs, they're for informational purposes only, so always do your own research. Even if we have a project on here, it does not necessarily mean that you have to invest. We do these so you guys can learn about them, see the pros, the cons, and talk about it and discuss with the community. If you have any questions, we do have the developers in here, and I think that's one of the important aspects, that you can get in there and get the questions that you want answered for the project. So with that, we're going to be going through the channel, and we're going to try something new for the community handout of the rewards. And then will you guys be doing whitelist positions for your future Terminal D?
Yes, there will be whitelist. And if you guys would like, we'll set something up when that time comes. We'll come in here, and you guys will be also included in that, for hosting us in an AMA. Obviously not a ton of whitelist spots, because we always want to make sure that we leave that buy pressure on launch day. But yeah, for sure. If we'd like, we've got a spin wheel that we can also throw out. You guys are mainly based in the U.S. We have some T-shirts and stuff like that we can give away to in the Telegram when we get there.
Right on. No, that sounds really fun. So let's open up to the chat, and for this one, let's do it. I want you guys to ask a question, and the first person in chat that answers your question will be the recipient of the $25 reward.
You want to take that? You want to give them a question? Does it have to be project-based, or?
I would say let's stick to project-based.
So if you were listening to the tokenomics of the projects, Do any of you remember how much the insurance wallet is? Which is, I think, is pretty important. The insurance tax, shall I say, how much the tax is?
15%.
Oh,
Go on
nailed
the
it.
website.
All
Edith
right.
Daniels.
On point there.
He snapped that out.
Right on. Congratulations, Edith. So with that, we'll have you get a hold of USA Crypto at MCM_researcher and let them know that you are the lucky recipient of $25.
Hey, Josh.
Yep.
Hey, Josh, we do have another one. Usually we're going to do 50 here and 25 over there. So we would pick one random person over in their room so we can raise awareness to the Telegram as well. But we do have another 25 over here. So if you want to ask another question.
Alan, you got another question for us?
Me. Give me one sec, guys. I don't know if you mentioned what your full name was, Richard.
I hadn't.
Okay, no, that's a bit unfair. But what's the
That is
name?
a bit unfair.
What's the name of the other person who was in this video chat earlier on?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's Don.
Hey,
There we go.
Who was that?
That's Todd.
Oh, Todd.
I don't think that's fair,
Todd
though.
part
So.
his project, or is he in?
Hey,
No,
hey,
I'm an investor, but
we've
I'm an investor,
got
so I know the team. So I'll go ask another one.
we've got Edit Daniels that actually gave Don's real name Lamar in chat.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That is that is Don's real name. He's doxed on our site as Lamar, and that is his correct name. But I don't know if you guys want to give it out to the same person again. I don't. That's up to you guys. It's your AMA. You guys make the call.
Well, we'll have you make the call since you guys are the projects in here and or the project in here, and we'll go with that.
I mean, he was the first one to come up with it. I can't really be unfair like that. So that was very nice because that wasn't even, he must have looked on the website and really did some reading and things like that to find out that he was the co-owner. So
yeah,
we'll give it to him.
Fantastic. All right.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah. Well, thank you much for coming out to our channel. Don't be a stranger. Like Seattle said, make sure to stop in here every once in a while, give us some updates, and then we'll be stopping by there to check in on you as well.
Yeah, it's been great talking
to you guys.
We look forward to seeing
really
you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, we had a lovely time, and thank you guys for hosting us. We always like getting out and talking about the project. We don't get to do it very often. Normally, we're so active in our chats that as information comes alive, it's usually put in different places over there, and it's nice to finally get a full rundown of the project from start to finish. There's a lot more accomplished when you sit down in a room of fresh people and you start saying, well, we've come a far way because, it hasn't been that long and we were able to get a lot of things done. So.
Yeah.
Thanks, folks.
Super good job today, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thank you guys.
Bye.
Wow, I thought it was really that was a really good AMA. What do you guys think?
I think it's a pretty interesting concept for sure. There's a lot of moving parts. So, like I said, I just want to make sure that they have a plan to keep on self-funding. But the concepts there, like you said, the thing that's really impressive about the project is they're 100% funding it on their own. So even though they had people buying into the tokens, they're still pushing the ground floor of their own project on top of doing research and helping other people do research on projects and then supporting ground floor on others. So that shows a huge level of commitment that I think is pretty unparalleled from a lot of the other projects that we've seen or talked to so far.
Yeah, 100%. I think these guys are very passionate about the project, and very committed. So that's actually really nice to see, and for them to KYC and docs as well. So I think they're very honest people. But for those who are listening, guys, we had to change up the cash giveaway a little bit because we had a person that had a little emergency that had to go. But we will be back on that swinging wheel. Okay.
JM2, I think that was a great idea as far as how to do that on the fly, though. So really impressed with the person who was able to pull the information out of their website.
Yeah, congrats, Edith. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That was, man, he was quick. That was amazing, actually.
It was like ninja speed. I was like, wait, who connected that already? Because I had even asked JM2, like, hey, I'm pretty sure that's the same person as the Lamar they were talking about on the website. And I hadn't even clarified it yet. And doing better than me there, buddy.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing. You guys asked some amazing questions. Yeah, I think you know what? Be honest, I was actually on the fence, but definitely I would actually pay attention as well. With the developments and kind of follow up and kind of keep an eye on the project.
I only got the last maybe 40 minutes because I was at work for the beginning. I'll have to listen to the beginning, but towards the end, they definitely seemed like a pretty nice crowd.
Yeah, one of the big things I thought for them was the fact that they're looking at projects, like you said, the sleeping monsters. So the way he explained the Grow Up project was pretty cool because he's like, you know what? They might not be hitting all the marks on the charts right now, but we know it's coming and we're willing to invest, like you said, hold that floor and make sure that they reach that maturity phase where they can actually pump and do the right thing that supports their project growth.
I'm very curious to the part where they couldn't speak on it, but how they're paying this reflections or rewards without, I guess, in a sense, dumping the chart. I guess they have a secret somehow, and you don't really have to, be the first one to come in or the top holders to get good rewards off of it. So I'm not sure how they're going to implement that. That's going to be interesting to see.
The only way to not dump charts whenever rewards are sold is to have a buyback reserve or have a constant flow of outside income. So I'm sure they have a creative spin on how they accomplish either one of those two. They did mention something about buying into their project and resetting things if the chart goes negative. So that leads me to believe they have a reserve from something.
Yeah. I guess it's top-notch secret. I couldn't speak on it, so it'd be very interesting.
And then one thing that I have heard can be done is that Burns actually can increase the price. It just has to be updated on the BSC scan to correct the total supply. So instead of just sending to a dead wallet where it's out of circulation, that could also be not really a secret, but a different way that they could operate to fix the price to a point if they actually have it in their contract to where they can enable modification to the BSC scan and to shrink that total supply.
Yeah, I hate to send you guys away, but it looks like Air Central Station just posted that they're doing a giveaway on the voice chat if you guys want to join them.
Yeah, they mentioned they were going to do a wheel or something, so we should probably head over there.
Do it. Should we just go ahead and close the voice down? All right, guys, let's everyone head to Air's Central Station. Let's show them some support. They seem very honest, and I actually like that a lot.